Imagine you only have 5 minutes. 5 minutes before everything disappears. No sirens. No warning. No time to understand what is happening. Only a sudden flash in the sky, brighter than the sun. And then, silence. Not peaceful silence, but absolute silence. The kind of silence that means something has ended forever. In those first seconds, the world doesn't just change, it collapses. Entire cities vanish in moments. Skyscrapers don't fall to the ground. They simply stop existing in their original form. Matter turns into dust, glass evaporates, steel bends and melts like it was never solid. People don't have time to run, hide, or even react. There is no after for millions of them. Only disappearance. But this is not the real beginning. It is only the first layer of destruction. A few seconds later, something invisible spreads across the planet, an electromagnetic pulse. EMP. It does not destroy buildings. It destroys the nervous system of civilization. Every electronic device shuts down instantly. Phones go black. Cars stop in the middle of roads. Airplanes lose control systems. Power grids collapse like they were never built. And just like that, the modern world disappears. No internet, no communication, no navigation, no infrastructure. The illusion of control is gone in less than a minute. People step outside expecting help, news, explanation, but there is nothing. Only confusion, and then fear. Because fear spreads faster than information ever could. Hours pass. Then the sky begins to change. Massive clouds of ash rise into the atmosphere from burning cities, forests, industrial zones, and nuclear impacts. It is not just smoke, it is a planetary veil, a layer so thick that sunlight begins to disappear. Day fades into a permanent gray twilight. Weeks later, the temperature starts to drop, slowly at first, then faster. Weather patterns collapse. Seasons stop behaving normally. Storms appear where there should be calm. Snow falls where there was once heat. The world is entering a nuclear winter, and this is where survival truly begins. Agriculture collapses almost instantly. Without sunlight, crops die. Fields become useless. Livestock disappears. Food supply chains, already broken by the EMP, are completely gone now. Hunger spreads across continents faster than any disease ever could. Cities, once symbols of life, become traps. Without electricity, water systems fail. Heating disappears. Security disappears. Law enforcement disappears. There is no system left to maintain order. People begin to move. Not as travelers, as survivors. Mass migrations start across frozen landscapes, ruined highways, and abandoned infrastructure. Families search for food, groups form for protection. Some share, some take, some kill. Humanity splits into fragments based on one rule only: survival. And very quickly, the surface of the earth becomes unlivable for most. So humanity goes underground. Subways become shelters. Bunkers built for wars that never came become homes. Basements, tunnels, mines, all repurposed into survival spaces. The world shrinks to enclosed environments where light is artificial and time loses meaning. Days are no longer measured in hours. They are measured in resources: water consumption, food portions, battery levels, air filters. Human life becomes mechanical, minimal, controlled. In these underground systems, society begins to change. Rules form again, but not like before. There is no government, no global authority. Each group creates its own structure. Some choose cooperation. Others choose hierarchy. Others choose force. In some places, democracy slowly reemerges in small forms. In others, authoritarian leaders take control because strength becomes the easiest form of stability. But everywhere, one truth becomes clear. Civilization is not guaranteed. It is maintained. And without maintenance, it breaks. Years pass underground, then decades. Children are born who have never seen the surface. They grow up thinking that tunnels are the world. Artificial light becomes their sun. Concrete becomes their horizon. Stories of the past sound like mythology, a world with oceans that move freely, a sky that is blue, cities that stretch upward instead of downward. These ideas feel unreal to them. For them, the surface is not home, it is legend. But eventually, something changes. Sensors begin to show small improvements in radiation levels. Certain regions slowly stabilize. Nature, despite everything, begins to recover in the absence of human activity. Forests regrow in contaminated zones. Wildlife adapts in unexpected ways. Ecosystems start forming again, even if they are different from before. After many decades, the first expeditions return to the surface. They are not explorers. They are witnesses. What they find is not the world they lost. It is something else entirely. Cities are no longer cities. They are skeletons of concrete and metal. Roads are broken veins across the land. Nature has reclaimed everything, but not in a peaceful way. It is wild, uncontrolled, unfamiliar. Some plants grow faster than before. Some animals behave differently. Mutation exists, but not always as horror, sometimes as adaptation. The earth is healing, but in its own language, not ours. And slowly, small groups begin to settle on the surface again. Not nations, not empires, communities. Tiny pockets of humanity scattered across a vast, changed planet. At first, survival is still the only goal, but gradually, something else returns. Curiosity. Then, organization. Then rebuilding. Technology is rediscovered, not reinvented from scratch, but recovered from ruins. Solar panels still function. Mechanical systems can still be repaired. Simple generators are rebuilt. Communication returns through short-range radio systems. But this time, there is caution. No one wants a single global system again, because everyone remembers what centralized power led to. Instead, the new world develops in fragments. Local networks, independent cities, small-scale cooperation between regions, but no global control. Information becomes sacred. Old data centers are treated like archaeological sites. The past is studied carefully, almost religiously, because it contains both knowledge and warning. And in that knowledge, one truth becomes unavoidable. The old world did not fall because it was weak. It fell because it became too powerful, too fast, and too disconnected from consequences. A new philosophy begins to form. Not expansion, but balance. Not domination, but stability. Not endless growth, but controlled survival. And over time, the planet changes again. Forests spread further. Oceans stabilize. Air quality improves. Radiation zones shrink. The Earth slowly returns to something closer to equilibrium. 100 years after the war, the world is no longer broken. It is different. Smaller in population, quieter in structure, slower in development, but perhaps more aware than ever before in human history. Children born in this new era grow up seeing real skies again. Blue skies, not filtered through ash, not hidden behind collapse. And to them, the old world is not a memory. It is a warning told through generations. But even then, one question remains unresolved. Has humanity truly changed? Or has it simply adapted to survive long enough to repeat the same cycle again, just in a different form? Because history shows one thing clearly. Civilizations do not end suddenly. They reach a point where decisions stop considering the future. And when that happens, the end is already in motion. The end of the world is not an event. It is a process. And it is a choice made again and again.